Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what's going on? This is Jeff Hartman, editor of BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, with you for another episode of the Steelers post-game show. We're back to the winning ways as the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Cincinnati Bengals 16-10 to advance to 6-5. And as always, this guy, Lance Williams, who's pointing to his Cal Bears hat. Lance, how's it going?
You know it. You know the story. Tell the whole darn world this is Bear territory. You know it. Roll on, you Bears. That's how I feel, baby. We beat Stanford. Steelers got to win. Oh, the holidays are coming up next week. Pecan pie, turkey, all that good stuff. No work. Nice. I'm winning. And so are the Steelers.
Steelers are winning. Lance is abandoned the masks. So if anyone is complaining about that, you can email him his email address. I'll put it up on the screen here in a second.
Yeah, when my face gets thinner, I will adopt a mask. I got too much face fat, and it creates too much heat. And so, when I drop a few pounds, I did come from the doctor this weekend. I dropped 7 pounds, so I'm working in the right direction.
You're moving in the right direction. I like that. And the Steelers, maybe they're moving in the right direction as well, as they did something I didn't think they would do. And that was to start the second half after Mason Rudolph came out and had a 3-and-out to start the third quarter. The next possession, it was Devlin Hodges. And honestly, I am seeing so many duck emojis in the live chat right now, and I know that they're getting on me about that. But hey, Lance, first and foremost, what were your thoughts about the decision itself?
Hey, it was such a good decision that I might serve duck for Halloween. We might have a little duck, a little turducken, baby. It might be some duck on the menu, baby. Little crispy skinned duck. Next time I go to a Chinese restaurant, I'm going to order Peking duck. It's duck season, baby. Got to ride or die with the duck, man. I mean, it was a great decision. Tomlin and the coaching staff look like geniuses because what does he do? 3 plays, bang, bang, bang. James Washington channeled his inner Vance McDonald. Steelers get on top. They go out to win the game. So it was a great decision. Duck provided the spark that the Steelers offense needed. Mason Rudolph was just not getting it done. And if you're trying to win football games and go to the playoffs, it's nothing personal. It's all business. You got to put the guy out there that gives the team the best opportunity to win. And today it was Devlin Hodges.
No, you're right. And I will be the first. Obviously, people in the live chat right now are just killing me because I was the guy that said that Mason Rudolph should be the starter. And honestly, this was the first time that for me, I looked at this and said, it's just not working. It's just not working. And I tweeted this out. I run the Behind the Steel Curtain Twitter feed. You can follow us there at BT Steel Curtain and say, I think that Mason Rudolph's issues are all in between the ears. He just looks like he's so scared to make a mistake. Devlin Hodges, if there's one thing he doesn't fear, that's making a mistake. He will go out there and he'll make those throws. Sometimes they're crazy, but a lot of people are wanting an apology. Okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You all seriously are acting right now like I'm the one that was keeping Mason Rudolph in the game. No, it wasn't me. I actually have nothing to do with that. But anyways, I guess I apologize to all the Devlin Hodges fans. Here's the one thing I do know, Lance, and I'll say this very clear. Neither one of these quarterbacks is the answer. You just have to find which one gives you the best chance to win. And Mike Tomlin in his post-game press conference was non-committal when he said, who's going to be your quarterback next week? He said, I might know, but I'm not telling you all. And that's some gamesmanship because they're playing the Browns next week in week 13. But Lance, there's no decision here, is there?
Yes. So we're answering this question. This is the question we're dealing with, like who should be the starter next week?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying now? I think, and there is no question, it has to be Devlin Hodges. And before the show, I said I was going to keep it a surprise as to why I think it should be Hodges. It's pocket presence. Mason Rudolph has no pocket presence, none at all. He does not give offensive linemen an opportunity to block consistently. Defensive guys, if you're going to blitz him or if you're going to rush him, you know exactly where he's going to be all the time in the pocket. And when you're dealing with the set of wide receivers that you have on this team, you may need somebody to move and navigate the pocket better and extend plays to give these wide receivers a better option to get open. These aren't rhythm and timing guys, so you need somebody that's going to have some elusivity to them, be able to break the pocket, get some extra yards, and a guy that's a little bit more decisive. And when me and my dad were watching the game, I mean, you've played a ton of sports, you've been a coach. You can tell there's certain physical cues and how a player looks on the field when a guy has lost confidence. And I think the Steeler players know it, that Rudolph has lost confidence. I think the coaches know it. And when a team knows that your signal caller, your quarterback has lost confidence and they don't fit and they're starting to lose confidence in him, you have to make the change. Duck should be the starter next week. I think he gives the Steelers the best opportunity to win moving forward. But the thing we have to remember for both of these guys, they're developing players. And we're not talking about passing the test with an A. Both of these guys will pass. Their high grades are 75s out of 100 on the test. These guys aren't getting 90s or 95s. So the bar should be set low for both of these guys. But right now, I think Mason Rudolph has regressed. His pocket presence is bad. He's leaving plays on the field, and he just does not have confidence. And so you got to salvage the season, and you have to play the guy that gives your team the best opportunity to win. It's what you need to do for your ownership. It's what you have to do for your team. And lastly, it's what you have to do for the fans. All three of those entities owe it to all three of those to put the best guys out on the field, game in, game out. And right now, Hodges is a more confident and he's a better player than Mason Rudolph.
So here's the thing. I think the absolute worst thing that the Steelers could do moving forward, especially in the next week even, is something that Lamar said. I'll put it up on the screen. He said practice will be the determining factor. I disagree 100%. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that how they practiced. If they're going to go into this week splitting reps, that is the dumbest thing you could ever do. Because if you're thinking about turning to Devlin Hodges as your guy, and I think they should, and I'll tell you why in a second, the one thing you don't want to do is take any repetitions away from him. He needs every single rep he can get, and especially when the people he's throwing passes to, some of them were on a practice squad last week. He needs the reps. So Mike Tomlin, I guarantee you, knows who he's going to, and I guarantee that person is Devlin Hodges.
I may have it right now. Okay. We know you got it right now.
Right, but can't split reps. You cannot do that, not with this situation, not with this quarterback. You need to give Hodges all the reps, give him all the time that he needs to try to get this offense right, at least as right as it's ever going to be in 2019. But let me tell you why I think it's plain and simple for me.
Wait. Before you get into it, Jeff, the Reverend good Dr. Jeff Hartman, Southern Baptist, preach. I just wanted to say, preach, good Reverend Dr. Jeff Hartman.
Thank you.
Preach.
Yeah, make a decision and roll with it. And the thing is, Mason Rudolph has gotten first team reps since Ben Roethlisberger went down in week 2. And here's why I think that the Steelers should roll with Devlin Hodges moving forward, is that we've seen enough of a sample size of Mason Rudolph that we know what he brings to the table. And in my opinion, he's a salvageable backup quarterback in the National Football League. Meaning, if you needed him to step in, manage a few games, maybe win the football game based on the fact if you have a good defense, running game, whatever, then yeah, he's that guy. But he's not a guy that's going to come in. It's very obvious now that he's not the answer in terms of the future of quarterback at the quarterback position. So we haven't seen what Devlin Hodges can do other than one game against the Los Angeles Chargers. So give him the first team reps. Let him get out there and play against the Browns at Heinz Field. This will be his first game playing at Heinz Field. It's not a preseason game other than when he finished up the Baltimore Ravens game in week 4. So I say go with Hodges. See what you have. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think that either one of these guys is capable at this point in time of really rattling off some tremendous play. And a lot of that has to do with the players around them. I mean, my gosh, like I just said, I mean, you got Deon Cain. You already gave him a nickname, Lance. What is that?
Superman, Dean Cain.
Deon Cain. Dean Cain is catching passes down the sideline, who was on the Colts practice squad last week. You've got Kenneth White, who was on the Bears practice squad last week. You have Tevin Jones. White's a running back, mind you, but you have Tevin Jones, who was on the Steelers practice squad 2 weeks ago. These are the players they're throwing to. So
The
keep that in mind.
dashes. Wow, that's a bunch of dashes.
It's a lot of dashes. And so who else do you have? Deontay Johnson, rookie. James Washington, second-year player. Johnny Holton, who has 1 reception on the entire season. Guys, I mean, let's be honest here. The Steelers don't have a real good complement of offensive weapons. I want to blame Randy Fiedner as much as anyone else, but it's not like they have, a wealth of riches everywhere on their field, on their roster. It just isn't the case. And then running back, they leaned on your boy Benny No Jets today. And he did okay. I'd put him in my winners column.
Big up to Benny No Jets. Correct me if I get this one wrong. I think I know this saying. It's not a cliche, but it's a movie saying. Correct me if I get this wrong. Life is like a box of chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
That's Forrest Gump, yes.
Awesome. Somebody needs to put something in the tip jar because I actually got a quote right and or a cliche or a saying right. Isn't it very ironic that Mason Rudolph more likely is going to get benched for the quote unquote rematch game?
I honestly, that had never even crossed my mind.
It only crossed my mind as you were talking about it that I think he's going to get benched for the rematch game. And that's pretty interesting that he's going to avoid some of those licks and some of that punishment because that's going to be a very physical contest next Sunday.
Yes, absolutely. And also, I'm going to go a step further and say that don't think for a second that James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster weren't. Now, Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't passed the protocol because he wasn't practicing. So he might be cognitively fine, but he has to go out and practice before he does that. And so his knee injury definitely hindered him from that. But don't think that they didn't say, and Mike Tomlin has proven that he has this line of thinking. We'll be able to take care of these guys. We'll beat the Bengals with Superman, Deion Kane, and Benny No Jets, and then we'll be ready for the Browns in Week 13. So that's just I think that's the way Tomlin thinks. He doesn't want to risk any injuries, but here they are, 6-5, an ugly win,
and the 6th seed once again
back in the playoff picture. Yes, because the Colts have the same record, but they have the head-to-head win over them. I really wish the Buffalo Bills would have somehow tripped up because I believe they are
8-2.
8-2.
They are 8-2.
How in God's good name are they 8-2?
They don't turn the ball over and they play good defense. And the Raiders got smashed by the Jets. They went to New York or New Jersey and got absolutely destroyed. I think they got beat like 34-7, 34-10. They got creamed. So the Steelers, with all the warts, and it's not pretty. It is absolutely not pretty. The Steelers look like your 5th choice to go to the prom, but it's a win. They look like that, you got denied 4 times and you're going with your sure thing.
Hashtag take it. Hashtag take it.
Hashtag take it. Hashtag 2 a.m.
Yeah, Brian Anthony Davis. I know I should get shirts up that say hashtag 2 a.m. hashtag take it, and then on the back 2 a.m. That would be good.
2 a.m. Black and gold. Let's do that for the holidays. Everybody, see, if you're not listening to the show, and if you don't know what we're talking about, and I'm not going to keep explaining it because we're going to keep saying it because it was epic podcast material.
That was two Steelers preview episodes ago when Brian Anthony Davis dropped that wisdom on us. So there you go. So yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers are right now where everything lies. Next week is huge. Next week is gargantuan. If they beat the Browns next week, and we'll talk about that a lot this week. And I do need to run down the upcoming schedule of the week because Thanksgiving is this week, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if they can win this week, boy, it's going to put a huge dagger into the Browns' playoff hopes. I think it's going to actually eliminate them, and Pittsburgh would be catapulted then even closer. Before we get to anything else, I want to mention the people that are watching the show live. We have just shy of 300 currently right now watching the show live. We ask that if you want to help the show, you have multiple ways of doing it. You can always use the super chat feature. That's where you donate some money to the show. It goes straight to the program. We appreciate that. And then also, if you don't want to give us your money, and I understand the holidays are coming, hit the thumbs up button. And also, I didn't realize this until someone emailed me and said, hey, Jeff, just so you know, to get your notifications, you need to hit the bell on when you subscribe to the channel. And that's when you get all those emails, push button notifications that we're going live. So not only subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, like all our videos, comment if you want. It all helps in the YouTube algorithm and getting us more exposure. So appreciate that for all those people that do that on the regular. Lance, you wanted to get into some grades, winners and losers and stuff like that. Why don't you get us started with that?
In terms of the offensive winner, let me give you my offensive winner. And, I'm eating some crow here. I'm eating some Baltimore Raven a little bit here. My offensive game ball has to go to Benny, no Jets.
That's pretty good Elton John. That was a pretty good Elton John there.
I have talents, Cal, CMU, you know what I'm saying? Benny Snell, 21 of 98, 4.7 yards per carry. Some big runs.
He finished with 98 yards.
He finished with 98 yards.
They could have given him a couple carries at the very end to get those too, but I get it.
But, not a greedy guy, got down inbounds, held on to the football, brought a really tough physical element in the running game in between the tackles. So my offensive game ball goes to Benny, no Jets, Snell. 4.7 yards per carry. Benny, no Snell. Benny, no Jet, Snell is an option at the running back position. So that's my offensive game ball and my offensive winner.
I'm going to go with a guy that I've been waiting for him to kind of step up, and he's done it on more than one occasion this season, and that would be none other than James Washington. The Steelers scored one touchdown, and it was him, and it was a heck of a stiff arm. It was a Hines Ward-esque stiff arm on B.W. Webb, the former Steeler cornerback, B.W. Webb. And it was the only touchdown they had. And Devlin Hodges put a good ball out there, and he did the rest. It's good to see Washington. He's really strong after the catch. He showed that on more than one occasion tonight. I'd like to see them get him the ball in space a little bit more. But he's absolutely, on a day where there weren't many offensive game balls, MVPs, winners, whatever you want to call them, I would definitely say he's one of them.
You know what he did for all my Star Wars fans out there? He gave B.W. Webb a force push.
Oh gosh, can we not? I mean, really?
He gave him the force push. That
he
was
didn't know there was force, and it came from his arm. It was not the force.
It was the force, baby. It was the force. Make sure you check out The Mandalorian for all my Star Wars fans. It was the force push, baby. James Conner is a Jedi, the black and gold Jedi. He was trained in Coruscant.
Lance, before you say anything else, I want to say, let's see if I can find it.
I got honorable mentions too.
Okay, go ahead. Do the honorable mention while I look for this.
I'm going to say White Jr., who was signed this week, 6 of 43, 7.2 yards per carry. I'm also give Devlin Hodges coming in as an honorable mention, throwing that touchdown pass, and overall, the offensive line in terms of run block, and this is one of their best this year. I had talked about on Saturday's show when we talked about what will happen when the turnovers dry up. They ran it 38 times for 160 yards for 4.2 yards per carry. And one of the things I talked about in that show yesterday on Saturday was I think it has to change in terms of the play calling, that they have to start playing to their defense, where it needs to be more run, less pass. And if you're not scoring, don't turn the ball over and punt. Punts are not bad things. Play to the long field. Give this defense the long field and play defense and play to your strength. And right now, this defense, the strength is clearly special teams, because your guy is having a fantastic season.
Yes, he is. Jordan
He's
Barrett.
he's having a fantastic season. And Boswell, him and Justin Hunter are neck and neck. Got to be neck and neck for the Pro Bowl in the AFC.
Justin
Boswell,
Hunter.
Yes.
Tucker.
See, I got it wrong.
Justin Hunter was the former wide receiver. Ben ended his career when he overthrew him.
Yes. Well, you left me dangling out there, but it's okay. Tucker, he's a Raven. So what if I got his name wrong? He's a Raven, so it has to be between Tucker and Boswell. So good job by this offense, particularly this offensive line. So those are kind of my honorable mentions, but they got to start playing to their strength, special teams.
Yeah, Lance, I
and
agree with
defense.
you. I agree with you on that 100%. But my gosh, at some point, if we're just playing for a playoff berth, then let's just do what you just said. Let's literally just do what you just said. We'll win enough games to hopefully get in as a 6 seed. We'll play a game, we'll lose that game, and then we'll be able to say, well, at least we got back to the playoffs without Ben Roethlisberger. If you want to do any type of damage, they're going to have some explosiveness in the offense. And maybe that's when James Conner comes back. Maybe it's when Juju Smith-Schuster comes back and some of these other pieces are put together with him. But here's the thing that I can't get over, and that's because Randy Fichtner is driving me crazy. If I see another 2nd and 10 draw on a team that sucks at draws and they're horrible at screen passes, what are you doing? I mean, I agree 100%. Play it safe. You play to your strengths, your defense. You don't want to put them in a precarious situation. I get it. I get all of that. But at what point are you going to say, you know what? We're going to start taking some shots. We're going to start taking some educated chances, risks downfield, and not, I mean, my goodness, sometimes it is so predictable. And Dave Schofield loves to yell about this, and it's about the formations, and they run the same plays over and over again. You can tell the defense knows what's coming. It can't be that easy, not in the National Football League. If this team is just playing, and if the fan base is just okay with just getting in the postseason, then that's fine. We'll punt the ball away 50,000 times seemingly in a game, and we'll let our defense keep them at bay long enough, hoping that eventually they get a turnover and we have a short field and we can kick a field goal. Because that's essentially what this team is right now. Otherwise, if you actually want to do some damage, the offense is going to have to pick it up. Goodness gracious. I mean, it's not, the one thing I can't get through my head is that even though they don't have Pouncey right now, this is supposed to be one of the best lines in the NFL. And until today, they didn't look like it. And they didn't look like it in pass pro a lot today either. They got pushed around. Now, Finney did. Finney's not Pouncey. I get that. But Alejandro Villanueva has looked more like a turnstile in the past few weeks than he has a starting left tackle. So, Lance, I don't know what you want to say about that. I just want to chime in there.
I just want to say, if you're not listening to today's show, Jeff is on a roll. The good Reverend is preaching today, boy.
I'm just getting started, man. I'm kind of fired up.
He is bringing the good news. I almost just want to lay back and just kind of tee this up and let Jeff roll, because the good Reverend is rolling. Good Reverend, you got a word for the day.
I do.
But you know what the loser is on offense?
The viewer, the television viewer having to watch that crap.
See, the good Reverend is rolling. Well, the loser obviously on offense is Mason Rudolph, yes. And it's the Steelers as a whole. Another turnover. What is this? 18 straight games?
17
straight games of turning over the ball. I mean, in a game like this, when you have to play conservatively, in my opinion, to win games, you can't turn the ball over, and you can't turn it over in the red zone. Mason Rudolph was 8 of 16 for 85 yards.
Oh, my God.
85 yards and 1 interception. Dare I say, could that be a all-time, like you know how you have the perfect quarterback rating? What would be the opposite?
Well, there have been 0.0 ratings before.
Did he get a 0.0 rating? I have the game up.
I doubt it.
It could be close. Like he might have had a 2, something like that. Like
when you have your jersey number as a quarterback rating, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, that was absolutely bad. So, who's your loser on offense other than Mason Rudolph? I think that's an ease. That's low hanging fruit. Actually, his rating was 39.8.
Okay, I'm literally going to go with what I said earlier, and it was the people watching the football game. It was awful. I even tweeted this out at one point. If you like offensive football, turn away. Just turn away. You don't want to watch Cincinnati. You don't want to watch Pittsburgh. It's that bad. Just don't look. Just don't look. Just turn away, because it was that bad. It was so bad that a defensive pass interference call felt like a gigantic play for your team.
Yes.
That's what it felt like. You're like, yes, we're cheering for flags now. That's how we're going to move the ball down the field. Is we're just going to go to the old Flacco heave and pray and just hope that a flag gets thrown. It was awful. It's awful. And as a guy that typically, Lance, we've been doing these shows for like, I don't know, 6 seasons now. I'm the one that always talks about the offense. And my job used to be really easy. It used to be like, well, Ben, Ben's Ben, and we got Butt Naked and Robbed and Mr. Third and Fifth. And we've got, some tight ends that can still play. Like Heath Miller was still around. Man, it's the boy have the tides turned. You used to have to talk about a really crappy defense, and I used to talk about the legitimate all-pro offense. Now I'm talking about the dumpster fire that is Randy Fichtner's offense, and you're getting to talk about this elite unit on defense. It sucks. I don't envy you at all for the last 5 seasons. But before we go over to the defense, Lance, I want to put this on the screen because a couple people have said something already today. Doug said, where do I get one of those SB Nation shirts? If you're watching live on YouTube, I've got the Behind the Steel Curtain SB Nation shirt on. This is a really nice t-shirt. It's really comfortable. They do run a tad on the smaller side, as Lance told me before we went on the air. This is a large.
Medium.
It's not a. I will show you the freaking tag. Anyways, you can go to behindthesteelcurtain.com, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see it says BTSC Fan Shop. Click on that link, and it'll take you to our fan shop where you can order these. They come in black or gray. Really nice shirts. Would make really good gifts if you know someone that follows the website or follows the podcast. And
I need one.
Lance needs one. So maybe, maybe you come out here, maybe you give us some money, and I'll be able to send Lance a t-shirt for you. Want black or gray, Lance?
I gotta go black, so because you have gray.
Okay, that's right. I have gray. I blend in with my wall too much. Well, when I get my office, will be different. But anyways, I'm not gonna ask your size on the air. You send me a text with your size.
Bigger than you. let's just say, but smaller than Dave. So
there you go. All right. So Isaac puts $5 in the tip jar. Longtime listener and viewer. He says, I need to stop stressing over these games. Honestly, Isaac, you really should stop stressing over these games because
no, you shouldn't.
This team looks like garbage anyways. So,
you got to keep stressing, Isaac. That's a rite of passage for being a Steeler fan. You got to stress, man. Come on, man. You're black and gold for life. That means you're going to have high blood pressure every Sunday in the fall and in the winter. That's just how it is.
The funny thing is that I never was stressed in this game.
Me either.
I was like, they're gonna win this game. This is the way I felt.
Yeah, I kind of felt the defense had a good control over the game. But speaking of the defense, because I get the pleasure of talking about this defense, I'll tee you up. Who's your defensive MVP or game ball for today?
It could be one of 3 players. I'm gonna go with. See, timeliness matters for me. When you make the play matters. So TJ Watt came out of the gates like guns. I just pulled a Lance. Guns blazing. But I'm going to go with Devin Bush's fumble on Tyler. Because that one play, and that's really the only notable play he made, but that was a game-changing play. Now, Minkah Fitzpatrick having the wherewithal to not just pick up the ball, but stay in bounds is tremendous. He's a very heady player. We've talked about that before. I'm going to go with Devin Bush. What about you?
Did you think, Minkah does so many incredible things on the football field. I thought he was going to run it back, a la James Harrison.
I did too. I was like, look at him go. Look at Minkah go. He's scoring another touchdown.
I think he's about to score another touchdown. Oh, man. Like, Minkah is going to be canonized and have a statue when he gets back to Hines if he scores a touchdown on this play. Good call on Bush. I think that was the key play of the game that saved this victory and really tilted it in the Steelers' favor. I'm going to go stud. Dupree.
The trifecta, man.
The trifecta, when you get the sack, strip, and the recovery to end the game. And it was funny. We were all texting back and forth, and Dave said he thought that the Bengals were going to drive the field and the Steelers would hang on and keep them out of the end zone. And I text, nah, man, 2 sacks. They'll end this game. And it was 1 sack, and they ended the game. So, yeah, I think your call is better. I think my honorable mentions would also be TJ Watt as well. Who's your loser on defense?
Mike Hilton.
Huh.
based on the fact that Mike Hilton is brought in. He's basically a starter in the slot, and he'll make some plays. Well, it could go between Joe Hayden and Mike Hilton for me. Hayden did not have a good game, but Hilton, he's creating coverage bus, and that's
Yes.
something we talk a lot about. You can't have
Yeah.
coverage bus in the National Football League. They had 2 third down completions, I believe, in the entire game, and one of them was that pass to Erickson on the sideline, where Fitzpatrick came in to do his responsibility on the inside, and Hilton, for some unknown reason, stayed on his man instead of sliding over to his zone, which is Erickson, who's on the outside. That's a big play. That ended up what could have been a go-ahead touchdown or go-ahead score, if not for Bush creating the fumble a few plays later. But still, Hilton has been disappointing to me the last few games. I wouldn't mind seeing more Cam Sutton. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm wondering why they only play Cam Sutton exclusively in dime. He gets no nickel snaps. And because I don't think Hilton is generating enough play as a blitzer off the edge with the little cat blitz, the slot blitz, it's pretty predictable. And I'd almost rather play coverage. I think with this defense, because they get consistent pressure with their front four and they don't necessarily have to blitz to get pressure, I think sometimes you can be more conservative on the back end and play a little bit more coverage. You don't have to add him in the rush. What about Mark Barron? How was your thoughts on Mark Barron? Did Mark Barron play a little bit better for you today? I know we've both been pretty down on Barron this year.
Well, he definitely had he had the play where he got flagged twice for a holding and a pass interference. So that was awesome.
That's almost impossible. That's almost impossible.
It's not. He did it. I guess for me, that's kind of par for the course. I mean, my expectations are super low for him. My question for you is, why is all of a sudden Devin Bush not seeing the field as much?
That's interesting. I would guess it's neck up. Maybe he's not in the right positions and not in the right places where he should be in different coverage calls. That they might feel a little safer with some guys that may not be able to make those type of plays, dynamic plays like he made, because that was a fantastic play that he made. But they're in the right spot. When you have a defense that can get consistent pass rush and your coverage is pretty solid on the back end, what you don't want to do, like you said with Hilton, is make mistakes. Because if you can play clean football and not give teams coverage busts the way they're playing defense, it's really tough on the offense. So it's probably neck up with Bush. But I think Bush is the genuine article. I think he's growing. And the one thing we talked about earlier, in the show about, if you want to go to the playoffs, you run it 2 times, run, pass, there's no explosive plays in the offense. I think the only reason why you want to play like that is I don't think they're going to win a championship this year. I mean, they could. I doubt it. Anything can happen. You've got to play the games out to see. But if they were able to make the playoffs this year, that could be the catalyst for something really special when number 7 comes back. You get a lot of young players are competing for wins every week. They're learning how to prepare. They're playing in meaningful games. They're understanding what it takes to win in the National Football League, and they get a taste. And when you get that taste in your mouth as an athlete, sometimes that taste is what you need to light that fire for you to make that step next year to really make that push when number 7 comes back. Because with this defense and 7 coming back and a free agent signing here or there, it could be something special in the 2021 campaign. However, he has to drop some weight. Where do you think Ben's weight is now? We got a lot of shots of big burly Ben.
His beard doesn't help him. Like, that's number one. His beard does not help.
Come on, Jeff. Your beard doesn't make you look 15 pounds heavier from last week.
I also trim it and stuff. I don't have the neck beard that he does.
Come on, man. The beard, you can't. Don't blame the beard for 15 pounds. Come on, man.
We got a lot of 300s.
I'm saying 310 after Thanksgiving break.
It's a lot of tryptophan in that body this Thursday. I'll tell you that.
That's a lot of tryptophan. A lot of tryptophan and a lot of naps.
Yeah. So, all right. Who's your loser? Did you say your loser?
Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden's the loser.
Okay.
Giving up that touchdown pass, The one thing, I also give a loser to Butler. I'll give a loser to Butler slightly at the end of the half. I think when you're playing, sometimes when you can get pressure consistently up front with 4, and they were whooping Cincinnati's front. Sometimes there are certain coverage calls you don't make, or certain defensive calls you don't make. I don't think you play cover 1 or cover 3 in those situations. I think you play 2-man or 2 deep safeties or cover 4. You try to take away verticals and you try to keep everything in front, because you're assuming, because you're dominating up front, they're not going to consistently move the ball. And what you do by playing 1 deep safety is you introduce verticals. And who got beat? Edmonds on a vertical. And riddle me this, Jeff. Is Edmonds going to make 1 big play this year? Strip, sack, interception. He's like milk. He's just like milk. When you put milk in something, it doesn't make the recipe. It's just a part of the recipe, but he doesn't make the dish special. He's just milk. He's just like chocolate milk out there. He's just out there.
But he's got the athleticism to make the plays. He just has to learn it. And this is crazy because you shouldn't be teaching this stuff in the NFL. But little things like, okay, you're guarding a guy down the seam. When he looks back, what do you typically do as a defender?
Look back.
Yeah, there you go, folks. Pop Warner football. When your receiver looks back, you look back for the ball, locate it, and then try to make a play on it.
I got nervous, Jeff, when you said that. I thought I was going to say the wrong thing. I got nervous. I was like, uh-oh, it's look back. Maybe it's not look back.
Now, but here's the thing. So, Jav Man, I guess is how you say it. He said, Edmonds is another first-round bust. I'm not going to say he's a bust because he's serviceable. He's just not a dynamic playmaker. He's not Minka Fitzpatrick. He could be a good complement.
He's a stabilizer.
But in my opinion, safety tandems, regardless of position, you can have one and the other. Okay, so think about when you had Troy Polamalu, playmaker, difference maker, X factor, whatever you want to call him, Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a stabilizer. And before Ryan Clark, it was Chris Hope. Same thing.
Stabilizer.
Exactly. So Edmonds can be a good safety for the Steelers for many years, and he'll eventually learn to start making more plays, I would hope. But at the same time, I understand people being frustrated.
Speaking of combinations on the Steeler defense, and we're talking about my pleasure of now being able to talk about this defense, is the Steelers have a couple of tandems at positions that need to stay together. You need to keep Minka and Edmonds together. Mm-hmm. You need to keep Stud and TJ together. Those are 2 young dynamic duos at different positions, at your linebacker position, at your safety position, that moving forward, you need to keep together.
Did you say Hayden and Nelson?
I did not say Hayden and Nelson.
Thoughts? Well,
Hayden's old. So at some point in time,
he just signed an extension.
Yeah, at some point in time, well, they'll stay together because they will stay together. So you have your 2 starting corners for the foreseeable future will be together. Your 2 starting outside linebackers, I think if they sign Stud in the offseason, which I think they're going to have to.
They'll at least franchise tag him, I think.
Or franchise tag him. I think they're going to have to. And then your safety tandem. So you got your corners, your safeties, your outside linebackers. Hopefully Tuitt can stay healthy and play 12, 14 games. You have him and Hayward. They got a lot of talent on that defense.
Defense is becoming legit. You know what? I'm going to say it right now. They're becoming elite. And I'm not talking Joe Flacco is elite. I'm talking elite. They're becoming that unit. They might not be there right now, Lance, but you got to admit, they're becoming an elite group.
I'm going to say it like my dad says it. Elite.
We got some super chats here, Lance. Isaac gives us $5. He said, YouTube gave me a free $10 in super chats. I'm using them here. I'll put the other one up there. And he jumps this. Appreciate it, Isaac. As always, awesome stuff. And then we had, let's see if I can find, here we go. $20 in the tip jar from EJ Johnson. Says, my favorite Ben quote concerning Mason. If this is their guy, guys with Duck, can we make to the playoffs this season? Can we make it to the playoffs with Duck? That's the question, Lance.
Yeah, absolutely. If they win, like Jeff said at the top of the show, if they beat Cleveland next week, they have a really good chance of going to the playoffs. I think because you have that tiebreaker over the Colts, and you're already due to conference record, I believe. I don't know what the tiebreaker is with the Raiders. You have that tiebreaker, and you would eliminate the Cleveland Browns. So if you beat the Browns next week, you get to 7-5. You're in a position where if you win out, you're going to the playoffs, and you control your own destiny. So,
not to mention, when you look at their schedule, if they win next week, and then if they beat Buffalo in week 15, that's a game that obviously Buffalo's ahead of them in the standings. If you can own that head-to-head tiebreaker, would go a really long way towards helping them in terms of getting in as a wild card. Because let's be honest, are we really trying to say that this team's going to come back and beat the Ravens or win the division? Probably not, because Baltimore looks like they're 8-2 and they look legitimate. The Steelers were 7-2 last year at one point, so let's keep that in mind. And one injury can change it all. If Aaron Donald gets a hold of Lamar Jackson on Monday Night Football, could change everything. But in the meantime, it looks like the Steelers are playing for a wild card. But I don't want to derail your post-game show. Go ahead with what you wanted to get done.
Yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much what I wanted to have. So who was your defensive loser? Did you say your defensive loser?
Well, I said Hilton. Hayden would have been a close second. And Hilton had some missed tackles too. And TJ Watt had some missed tackles too. It's just one of those situations like, gosh darn it, come on, guys. I mean, they had Mixon for a 7-yard loss, and he ends up getting away and not just getting back to the line of scrimmage, but getting a first down. It makes me want to throw something against the wall.
You did, probably.
I was close. I stood up and my kids ran. I'm saying
you didn't kick the dog, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. Let me give you some more numbers, and I want to get your comments. In terms of defense, they held the Bengals to 2 of 12, 17% on third down. Time of possession, the Bengals only had it 25 minutes and 35 seconds.
Sorry, that's so bad. They only had it for 25 minutes?
25 minutes and 35 seconds. God. Let me give them credit for the 35 seconds. You got to give them credit for the 35 seconds.
That's true.
25 and 35. They had 244 yards of total offense, and they only completed 12 balls. Finley was 12 of 26 for 192 yards, sacked 4 times, threw 1 touchdown pass. So this Steeler defense, again, went out and got another 4 sacks. And got, I think, just 1 turnover today, the recovered fumble.
And Bud Dupree strip sack.
So they go out, they get, they force 3 fumbles, get 2. And, this defense, again, is balling. And if they want to go to the playoffs, they've got to ride this defense, and this defense has to go out. And here's the thing. I'm going to give you a little nugget for the Browns game next week. They covered Landry and Odell Beckham really, really well last week. It doesn't always show up on TV, but when Odell Beckham made the touchdown pass, that's a Hilton error and a Hilton coverage bust. But they really covered those 2 guys really well. And the key to the Browns really getting that victory was the ineptness, of course, of the Steelers offense. But Baker Mayfield's ability to get outside the pocket and extend plays. And I will guarantee that the Steelers will have a plan for that going into this game. You will not see them rush past him and get up the field creating running lanes. They will try to funnel him into the pocket and keep him especially from escaping to his right. So that's a little nugget for the game against the Browns. The rematch. So what's your thoughts overall on this game? Just overall, does this performance make you feel good about this team moving forward, going down the stretch, or, what do you think? Look into your crystal ball.
I've always said that good teams find a way to win ugly games, and that's exactly what they did today. But Sean Walter, he put $5 in the tip jar. Now I kind of want to touch on this. He said, free super chat. Everyone's giving us, YouTube's handing out free money and they're giving it to us. So we thank you very much.
Oh, I love that.
Said, thanks for the, thanks for the season-long content. Never been more excited for such a bad team. It's that last part of Sean's comment that I want to talk about. He said, never been so excited for such a bad team. This season is filled with intrigue at every single turn. every single turn. Whether it was Roethlisberger's injury and then Mason Rudolph starting, whether it's the Minka Fitzpatrick trade, whether it's, now Devlin Hodges coming, every single turn there has been intrigue with this season, and it has made it wildly entertaining. It might not always be pretty, but it's made it wildly entertaining, and it's been really fun to do these podcasts when you have so much interesting stuff and intriguing stuff to talk about. I mean, you don't want to see it, but Myles Garrett trying to decapitate Mason Rudolph with his own helmet, that doesn't happen all the time. There's so much stuff that keeps fans intrigued, and now they're winning football games after they've rattled off 4 in a row. Obviously, they're 6-5. It's one of those things for me where this team, I literally go into every single game not having a flipping clue what I'm going to see. Period. I don't know at all. It's just they're so tough to predict, because when Mason Rudolph was a quarterback, you knew his inconsistencies. Now Devlin Hodges could be a quarterback. He's going to have inconsistencies. The one consistent is the defense. Well, yes, but the defense playing good football, because even when they lost to the Browns 21-7, the defense did not play poorly. They had the one bust, Joe Hayden, as the easy touchdown to Landry. They had the deep play down the middle where Hilton, I guess, from what I gathered, Lance, you might have seen the play where it looked like Nelson got burnt when it was actually Hilton that was made the mistake. They had a couple mistakes. I'm not, expunging them of those, but your quarterback throws 4 interceptions. It's going to be tough to win on the road. So they're winning football games. If I'm going to look at my crystal ball, I think this team makes the playoffs. I really do.
Whoa.
And I think they make it might be as a 6 seed, and that's fine. But I think that this team is, the defense alone is going to be, it's always going to keep them in the game. And I honestly think that, especially with Devlin Hodges, who has a little bit more of a reckless style of play, they're going to be able to draw some stuff up that he's going to take some shots. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can connect. They're going to have to get healthy, though, especially on offense. That's going to be critical. Getting Marquise Pouncey back will be huge. It's going to be fun.
Again, Jeff, I second that emotion. Little song reference there. But, Jeff, did you think of this? Mason and Pouncey are going to be out for the rematch game. Wow.
Well, Pouncey won't be allowed in the stadium, though.
Mason. Yes. Mason won't be allowed on the field.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
That's assuming that Mason Rudolph. But I agree with you, Jeff. This has been a wildly entertaining season to talk about. Although I was very scared, and I was laughing with my dad about it, because had they lost this game today, I was just like, wow, ratings will not be good.
Oh my gosh, you're starting to think like me. Oh my gosh, you're starting to think like me. So this is how I think. Like, especially a year like this year, which is so crazy. Like, my wife will ask me, like, oh, they started off 0-3 or 1-4. Like, this is bad, right? I'm like, yeah, it is. But there's intrigue here. Ben gets hurt. Mason Rudolph comes in. Wow, all these people are excited about that. Minka Fitzpatrick trade. Like, these are big stories. And now they're starting to win. They're starting to rattle off some wins. But if they would have lost today, that would have been bad for business, bad for business. So
yes, it is. And it's always about business at the end of the day.
So here we go. Jesse George puts $4.99 in the tip jar. He says, free chat to you, my friends. Everyone check. I have 4 super chats, $4.99 each. So people were,
how is
where's all this coming from?
Can I super chat myself and ask myself 4 straight questions? Like, we appreciate it. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Even Brian Davis, he's giving you $1. Brian Anthony Davis gave you 99 cents. This is the Lance T-shirt fund. We're trying to get Lance behind the steel.
Because the Mason Rudolph T-shirt fund for Jeff is now over. Because
well, hey, let's be. Look, I've talked about this before. I'm super peculiar about my jerseys, and I'm not going to waste money on a jersey. So even when someone emailed me and said, I want to buy you a jersey, I said, thanks, but no thanks. Because I don't want to just waste someone's money. I'm not poor either. So I just want to make sure that the jersey that I purchased is actually one that's going to last. So, there's 2 players. I used to always take offensive players, but I might go defense with my next jersey.
That's funny, Jeff. I used to always take defensive guys. I never really wanted to wear offensive players' jerseys. The only offensive player I wore
Let me guess.
was Bus.
Oh,
That was
I was
it.
gonna guess Hines Ward. I could see where I can Hines Ward.
Because Bus played, he used to punish cats like a defender, and same with Hines. It'd have been the same logic. But I'm from Pittsburgh. Steelers are a defense running, physical team. I always liked defensive guys, so I never wore offensive guys. So, and I definitely wasn't going to wear a quarterback. Those guys get protected by people.
Here we go. Trey Ball says this one isn't free, but you guys deserve it. He gave us $14.99 in the tip jar. We really appreciate it. Look, it's not. I got to be honest. Like Lance did a lot of shows this week, and
yes, I did.
It's tough. I mean, we've all been there. Myself, Dave Schofield, Brian Anthony Davis. We've all been there, and we're doing 3, 4, sometimes 5 shows in a week. It can wear on you, but you all in the live chat make it at least enjoyable. And I can speak for myself. I can't speak for Lance, but when we used to have to do shows like without this live chat, you're talking to yourself. At least now you can throw questions.
But Jeff is funny, so Jeff is absolutely joy. Jeff is joy, and so Jeff's never waning enthusiasm has always been entertaining for me over the course of the 6 years, and I'm sure my continual pessimism is always entertaining for Jeff as well. Just like, man, how's this guy always just consistently negative?
For me, hard. For me, it's all fun and games unless I'm talking at 1:00 in the morning and I'm just like, oh, did I just fall asleep when Lance was talking? What did he say?
Yeah, that means you guys have to catch us on a Sunday night or Monday Night Football.
I hope we don't have to do that again. That's awful. Hey, here's something interesting here, Lance. And this individual who I think I know who this is. I think he's a member of our Behind the Steel Curtain family, Steel 58. He said, explain why Kaepernick is not worth a look-see. Put $2 in the tip jar. So that's always the rule. You put it in the tip jar, we're going to bring it up. Lance, I mean, Colin Kaepernick, thoughts?
Here's the thing. He's been out of the game for 3 seasons, right? And if you're trying to win immediately, I just don't think you can get him ready fast enough to help you out. I mean, the unfortunate thing with him is he brings a ton of controversy, and he's been out of the game for 3 seasons. So to get him ready, to get him into your mix in terms of your offense and so on and so forth, it might just be difficult. But on the flip side, if you're a bad team like the Bengals, does it make any sense for you to bring them in? You might as well develop the players you have because you're bad. So he's in a situation where he brings controversy. He's been out for 3 seasons, and I don't know if he helps you if you're a good team or if you're a bad team. The team that makes the most sense for him would have been the Ravens. Same offensive coordinator in Greg Roman. They play the type of offense where your legs are utilized. You're doing the option. You're doing the read stuff. Like offensively, his skill set fits perfect, I think, for the Ravens. I don't know if it fits for the Steelers, and I just don't know if it makes sense at this point to bring him in. I think if you're going to bring Kaepernick in, you do it at the start of the season in training camp. That gives him the best opportunity to help you out. I just don't think being out of football for 3 seasons, I don't think he helps you in season. I think it would help you at the start of a training camp. I still think you can play, but I think you got to bring him in at the start of training camp. I think the perfect spot again for him would have been Baltimore.
Well, but Baltimore has RG3 as their backup, and he's been there for several years now. I think that there's a pretty much a close to an equal skill set. Excuse me, as Lamar Jackson. I really, at this point in time, like you said, he comes with baggage, and it's not that the Steelers have been
they signed Vic.
They signed Mike Vick. They're not scared of the baggage, but like you said, is he gonna be able to help the team right away? Like, I don't know. So I'm not necessarily interested in that because with him, you're bringing in 3 years of unknown. You're bringing in 3 years of,
absolutely.
Can this guy still read a blitz correctly? And
can he still play?
can he still get like the protection schemes together? And that made seem like, oh, well, he's been to a Super Bowl. That's great, but that wasn't last year. If it was last year,
it was almost like 6 years ago.
yeah.
So, I mean, unfortunately, in the position that he's in, the more time that he doesn't play, it gets harder every day. I just don't think it's an option for the Steelers.
Yeah. All right. So Lance, I think it's a good stopping point. I want to mention our schedule coming up because it is going to be slightly different this week than normal weeks. And that is that we're going to have our Steelers Hangover Monday with Brian Anthony Davis and Tony DeFeo, as always, on Monday. Tuesday will be the Stat Geek. Wednesday will be the Standard as a Standard. Thursday, we're taking a day off. We're not going to have any shows on Thanksgiving. It's just probably not going to work out. It's family time, people. Just enjoy the holiday. And then Friday, the Steelers preview will be on. And then obviously Saturday, we'll get someone to do the burning question. I think it's Brian Anthony Davis's turn. And Friday, I said it. When do you want to do that, Lance?
I don't know, man. This was a case where I was not listening to you at all.
You were dancing around like an idiot.
Dancing around, looking at my cow hat.
Do you want to take a week off from the Yeah Said It, or do you want to double up one day? I'd like to see you double up. I like your show.
We'll discuss it. It depends on the level of tryptophan I have in my system.
Well, you're not going to do it on Thursday. I'm talking about
I might go in a coma for like 48 hours from turkey.
All right. Jesse puts $4.99 in the tip jar and says, Lance, does Benny have Jets yet?
No, he still doesn't. But what he does have is a toughness. He's a downhill runner that runs with a lot of physicality, and he runs with a little bit of edge too, and a little bit of gumption. You are what you are. I think he just needs to drop some weight and work on lateral agility. But right now, he may be what the Steelers' offensive line needs. Somebody's just going to one cut hit it and get what you can.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to get Lance on. People have obviously said in the live chat they want a Yeah I Said It. We'll get it. We'll get a Yeah I Said It up.
Want it? I'll give it to you. I was trying to do my WWE. Yeah.
You got to say,
woo!
You got to go all Hulk Hogan there. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. That's
I gotta go.
All right, real quick, rapid fire. Snowman says, just so because he put $2 in the tip jar, who do you start on Sunday against the Browns?
Quack, quack.
Quack, quack is right. Eddie puts $2 in there. That's exactly what he says. Quack, quack.
Quack, quack.
All right, with that said, Lance, why don't you send us off?
Tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe.
Absolutely, folks. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will see you next Sunday after another Pittsburgh Steelers, hopefully another Pittsburgh Steelers win. We'll see you on the Steelers postgame.